These guys are a snapshot of the difference that having a leader in your life really makes. The difference that that Young Life is making in our city. Our speaker tonight is my good friend Kenz Ladd. Kenz is in her third year on Young Life staff here in Murfreesboro. She's the team leader at Riverdale High School. And Young Life College at MTSU. There's few people that I know that work harder than Ken's to bring the kingdom of God here on earth. She loves and leads so well. We're so lucky to have her. She loves kids and she loves Jesus, and you guys are going to love her. So give me some applause for Kenz Ladd.
Thanks, Matt. If you guys have been confused about my name, you're not alone. Most people give me a blank stare and think that you're either calling me Ken or Kent, but it is in fact Kenz with a Z. It is short for Mackenzie. I just have gone by it my entire life, like Matt goes by Matt instead of Matthew. I go by Kenz, and it's on my business cards, and it's what I'm sticking with. So now that we have that out of the way, thank you for being here tonight. I know that that's the right thing to say, but truly, it is an honor to be standing in front of you, getting to share with you about a mission that I love, and I hope by the end of tonight you will too, if you don't already. As Matt told me that I was going to be speaking tonight, I thought, me? The 25-year-old staff associate, like you're the area director, you're the one who's gone the distance, you go and speak at the banquet. That conversation didn't go very far. Here I am, speaking at the banquet, a little nervous, but mostly excited, because I get to share with you not only about kids' lives that have been changed, but about a God who meets them where they are and tells them that they are worth it and that they are enough. As I began to write out what I was going to say, I didn't really know what a 25-year-old could say to a room full of well-established adults like yourself. I thought, I don't have a story about falling in love and getting married and growing old together. I don't have a story about having kids and changing their diaper and being grossed out. I don't have a funny story about shuttling my kids to and from soccer practice and baseball games and then getting home and cooking a meal and loving my husband well. I don't know what any of that is like. I don't know what it's like to mold the mind of my son or daughter as they go through the awkward stages of middle school and the drama of high school. I don't know what it's like to be a parent. But I do know this. I do know that I have sat with parents as they have prayed that their kid would have a friend come alongside of them in addition to them and love them where they are and accept them and tell them that they are loved and that they are worth it. I have sat with parents as they have cried, wondering, have I done enough? Did I say the right thing? When is their pain going to end? I've prayed with parents that their kids would step away from the things that they're doing and fall in love with the God who loves them. I have seen that. Do you know that there's kids in Murfreesboro tonight who will go to bed wondering, does anybody care? They'll lie in their bed and they'll think, should I go down one more path in the wrong direction, even though I know I'm not supposed to be on this path? Just one more sip, one more hit, one more time with my boyfriend or girlfriend, and then I'll change. Or maybe they're lying there in their bed thinking, enough is enough. I can't take it anymore. The pain is too deep, and they'll end it if they don't think anybody cares. But what they don't know is that there's a room full of adults who love them and care for them, in a group full of 40 Young Life leaders who are willing to go the distance across Murfreesboro to meet them where they are and tell them that they are worth it and they matter. We've all been in high school before. It is an awkward, hard, really dramatic time. And when I mean really dramatic, I mean like promposals and did you like my selfie that I posted? I didn't see that you liked it. It is a time of figuring out who you want to be, where you want to go. It's maybe falling in love for the first time or having your first heartbreak. It's a time where it is full of drama and laughter, pain. It's full of hope. It's a time where our young people's minds are being molded into who they want to be and what they want to be about. For me, high school looked a lot like this. I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, Illinois, with about 2,500 students. It was a big high school. And I had parents who loved me and supported me in everything that I did. They were working adults, so they weren't at all of my things, but they tried really hard and they molded me into who I am today. I played soccer for my high school as the varsity soccer goalkeeper. I was a goalkeeper. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it, being involved in sports. I loved that I was on the student council, that I was involved with my friends. I had my first boyfriend and my first kiss. I got to go to dances and travel, and it was a great time of figuring out who I was and who I wanted to be. High school was a very memorable time for me. The most memorable moment was my senior year of high school. We had a big high school, 3 stories high, and we had 5-minute passing periods. And so as the bell rang, you had to kind of sprint to the other end of the school in order to not get a tardy. And so me and my friends, we had Spanish class, and we're like, all right, here we go. We're going down to PE. And so we're power walking through the halls, trying to get through all the 2,500 other students. And we get to the first stairwell, and then we get down it, and we turn to go to the second. And all of a sudden, I just step, and I go head over heels, somersault down the stairs. My backpack flies off, my books fly out, and I land like a starfish in the middle of the hall. It wasn't a dream. It really happened. If camera phones would have been a thing back then, I would have gone viral. The entire school was standing there, and I am laying like this starfish on the ground going, this didn't just happen. So my friends, they pick me up, they start handing me books and my backpack, and I'm like, it's okay, just keep on going with your day. And I walk down to PE, and then the next thing you know it, a week goes by, and I fall again. And then I fall again. And after a couple weeks and a couple months, I just kept falling. And I thought, this is really strange. I have not gotten this clumsy. What is wrong? And so I went and I got an MRI on my left ankle, and I ended up having a bone tumor in my left ankle bone. The next day, I was rushed to the University of Chicago for emergency surgery. On the way there, I was with my dad in the car, and I just looked at him and I said, Dad, just give me a really good wig. He didn't laugh. I wasn't scared if I was going to have cancer. I wasn't scared about that. What I was scared about was that I was going to be out of playing soccer. I wasn't going to get to do the thing that I loved and what I found my identity in. I was no longer going to be Kenz, the soccer player. I was going to be Kenz, the girl on crutches, who everyone looks at. Surgery happened, and we found out it was a benign tumor, which is a really good thing. But it had grown so large over those months that it had taken over my entire ankle bone, and I had to have a new ankle bone put in. And so I was going to be non-weight bearing for 4 months on crutches for the remainder of my senior year. And then I was not going to be able to play soccer for the next year of my life. And up until that point, that's all I knew. And so I was mad. I was sad. I was full of fear. I didn't know what to do. I was supposed to be attending Austin Peay State University for a soccer scholarship. And now I was looking ahead at my next year of my life wondering, will I even get to play ever? And in that sadness and in that fear, I had an athletic trainer who was at my high school named Mary, and she saw this in me. And every day after school, she invited me into her athletic training office, and she sat down with me, and not only did we do physical rehab, but she was able to share with me her story and ask me questions about mine. It was the first time outside of my parents that somebody had been really intentional about my life. I didn't have Young Life in high school. I wish I did. I didn't even know what it was. But now that I do know what it is, Mary was the closest thing to a Young Life leader that I could think of. She pulled me away from the crowd and sat me down in her office, and she had meaningful conversations with me in hopes that my life would forever change. And it did. She told me that I could go off to college and be alone, or I could go knowing that God loves me and he offers me hope and joy in him and not in things like soccer or performance. And so in those weeks leading up to going to college, I gave my life to Christ. And then I moved to Tennessee, and I got involved with the ministry of Young Life, not really knowing what it was, but I found out that there was a community of people who loved me and wanted to know me, and I was in. And then I decided to turn down a job for Nike to come work for Young Life, because I felt like that is what the Lord was calling me to tell high school kids who was lost like me that they too can be found. And so I moved to Murfreesboro, and here I am on Young Life staff. This is my third year, and I love it. I've never turned back, because I think in that moment in the athletic training room when Mary told me about this God who offers me hope, that I just couldn't resist telling others about that hope. A few years ago, I was at a church in Knoxville, and I heard this pastor say that hope stands for hold on, pain ends. And I believe that that's what Jesus offered me my senior year of high school. Hold on, Kenz, the pain will end. And I believe that he offers that still to me today, to each and every one of us. He offers hope to the people who feel like they are irreparably broken. He offers hope to the head cheerleader or the high school dropout. He offers hope to Miss Popular or the person who's never been called friend. He offers hope to those whose life is falling apart or those whose life has it all together. But wherever we are, Jesus offers us hope and a chance for our pain to end. And he is willing to go the distance to meet us where we are. Life tends to fly by. 1 minute we're in high school, the next we're in college, the next we have a family, and we're sitting at a Young Life banquet, hearing about high school kids. As we prayed for tonight, we prayed that you would get to come and sit back and relax and hear about stories and lives that have been changed. And so as I share this next story, would you lean in and listen to the adventure we're about to go on with Jesus? Jesus went on many trips. He loved going places. He would go anywhere and everywhere. He would walk miles upon miles with his friends to meet people right where they are. He'd go places he wasn't welcomed. He would go places that people knew who he was. There usually was a crowd following him. But he would go because he knew he had to and he wanted to. It says in Mark 7 that Jesus traveled to the foreign land of a town called Decapolis. Deca, meaning 10, was a group of 10 pagan, non-believing cities that were bunched together. It was full of people who had wild lifestyles and lived carefree and had nothing to do with Jesus. And so Jesus decided, that's where I want to go. And so he went. Did you know that for the last 16 years, Murfreesboro Young Life leaders have gone into the foreign lands of the high schools to meet kids right where they are? Did you know that they go places that no one else wants to go? I don't imagine you sitting in your chair right now, eager to jump up and go into the high school lunchroom and sit down and talk about random, dramatic things with high school kids. I don't imagine you wanting to skip past the parent section and stand between two sweaty boys getting bumped in the football stadium. I don't imagine that you want to do that. Part of me is like, why do I do that? Because I think we have to. I think we have to meet them where they are and tell them that they are worth it and that they're enough. And we get to do that all across the 5 high schools in Murfreesboro and on the college campus of MTSU. And I think we do it because we know who we're going to meet when we get there. Listen to who Jesus meets. It says, there some people brought to him a man who was deaf and who could hardly talk. And they begged him to place a hand on the man. For the last 16 years, leaders have gone the distance to meet kids just like this man. Kids who may not be able to hear positive things about who they are because all they ever hear is, you're not good enough, do better, surely that wasn't your best chance, maybe try again and smile this time. Or maybe they're too afraid to speak because they don't want to be wrong or get looked down upon, and so instead they look into their phones to be affirmed by posting a selfie or sending out a tweet that might get a retweet. They're looking to be told that they are known and that they're loved and that they are being seen by somebody. They are crying out to be known, and these are the kids that we have to go after. These are the kids that we have to meet so we can tell them the good news. Watch what happens next. After he, Jesus, took him aside, away from the crowd, Jesus put his fingers into the man's ears. Then he spit and touched the man's tongue. And he looked to heaven with a deep sigh and said, "Be opened." At this, the man's ears were opened, his tongue was loosened, and he began to speak plainly. In Young Life, we get to pull kids aside, call them by name, and hope that their ears are opened so that they may receive a message about a God who loves them. As Young Life leaders, we get the opportunity to sit and listen to their lives and know their stories and begin a relationship that, as you saw, can last years upon years upon years. For the last 3 years, I've had the privilege to be a Young Life leader at Riverdale, and I've gotten to walk through life with a group of junior and senior girls. I love Riverdale. They are crazy. We call it the Wild Wild West because they are nuts. You never know what's going to happen. It's always an adventure, but I love it. I love walking into the high school and meeting these friends. Last year, I walked into the high school and I saw this group of girls who I had never met, and I thought, that's who I'm going to meet today. I walked up to the table, I sat down with them, I said, "Hey y'all, my name's Kenz, what's yours?" And they told me their names and they said, "Who are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm a Young Life leader. Do you know what that is?" And they said, "Yeah, we've heard of that." And I said, "Oh, what do you think? Like, do you like it? Have you been? Like, what do you know about it?" And they're like, "That's where the popular kids go." I said, "Maybe. I think popular kids come, but I think other kids come too. You should try it." And they said, "No thanks, Kenz. That's not for us." I said, "Okay." So week in, week out, for the next year, I started showing up at that table, and I started sitting with these group of girls, and I began to know their stories. There's this one in particular who always talked. She always shared, but she would never come to anything, no matter how many times I invited her. I was like, this girl is hard. And so I just kept sitting and asking her questions. She told me about her mom and dad who had just gotten a divorce, about her little brother who has Down syndrome and how she has to take care of him all the time. She told me about all these colleges she's applying to, but that she might not be able to go if she didn't get these scholarships, and so therefore she had taken the ACT like 1,800 times to try to win these scholarships. She talked and she talked and she talked, and I sat there and listened, barely getting a word in edgewise. End of the year comes, we enter this fall, and I go back to their table and I get to see them again, and they were so excited to see me. "Kenz, hey, gave them a big hug. They never showed up to club. A month goes by. We had been praying so hard for these girls as a team. In walks this girl's best friend who sits at her table with her, and there she came with. My jaw dropped to the floor, and I thought, "You're here! Yes!" I was leading music that night, so I didn't get to sit with her, but she was belting out Free Falling and Rocky Top. She laughed at the games. She participated with the popular kids. She became one of them. It was a level ground. And at the end of the night, after she heard a Young Life leader get up and tell them a story about Jesus, she said, "This was really cool. Why haven't I come before?" And I looked at her and I said, "Don't even. I've invited you for 2 years." And she goes, "Well, I'm going to keep coming." And so for the last couple months, she's been coming to club. She joined my campaigners, which is a small group in Young Life, on Thursday mornings before school. She meets me at the Starbucks at 6:30 a.m., and we get to sit and talk about Jesus before she goes into Riverdale. She asks questions. She wants to be known. And that is what our friendship has become. And just 2 weeks ago, we met at Starbucks. And she looked me in the eye and she said, "Kenz, I want what you have, like a real relationship with Jesus." And I looked at her and I said, "I want that for you too, and you can have it." And so we've gotten to sit and talk about what that looks like and what it means to follow Jesus. And I think that her life is going to be changed forever. Whether she sees it now or not, it is about to happen. And I'm so excited to be on this journey with her because I think it's worth it and it matters. Listen to how the story ends. Jesus commanded them not to tell anyone, but the more he did so, the more they kept talking about it. People were overwhelmed with amazement. We get to see this every day in Young Life. People overwhelmed with amazement at life change. You got to see it tonight in Shelby, in Amber, in Tyler, in Madison, and countless other stories we could have shown you. Because that's what we're about. Sharing the gospel so that their ears may be opened, their tongues may be loosened, and that they could fall in love with the God of the universe and then go and tell others about their heart change that their friends could have as well. They need to hear this story. They have to hear this story. And in the moment that that story clicks, they can't help but go and tell their friends. And this is why. Video should be playing here soon.
There's a story buried deep in our bones in Young Life. It's a story about a shepherd, a good shepherd, who leaves his flock to find one lost sheep. He will do whatever it takes to find that one lost sheep and bring it home. The heart of the good shepherd beats within us, and we're doing whatever it takes to go out and find that lost sheep. As we look out over our city, we see hundreds of lost kids. It's not easy, but with full hands and full hearts, we're going to go out and we're going to search for those lost kids. Whoever it takes, whatever it takes, we're going to find those lost kids.
This is a call to all the dead and disappointed, the ones who feel like they are done. This is a word to all the ones who feel forgotten, but you are not. Oh, you are not. 'Cause we're alive, 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 and we're singing. We're alive, 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 and we're shaking. We're alive, 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 alive in you.
More than ever before, Young Life in Murfreesboro is reaching kids for the gospel. Leaders go to where kids are. They build a bridge of friendship. and they earn the right to share with them about Jesus. Leaders are inviting kids on an adventure that only Jesus Christ can offer. They help them grow in their faith through small group Bible studies, service, and life-on-life discipleship.
Young Life is not just for high school kids. It's for college-age students, career leaders, committee members, parents, and siblings. It's not just a program. It's a ministry that starts with adults who care enough about kids to go to them. It's building relationships that don't just happen overnight because they take time, patience, trust, energy, and consistency.
Young Life is going the distance to make relationships happen. More kids are laughing and singing at club than ever before. More kids are hanging out with their Young Life leader. More kids are beaming as they see camp for the first time. More kids are encountering God's Word. More kids are discovering that life is found in knowing Jesus Christ. Young Life in Murfreesboro started 16 years ago with a prayer. And we continue that prayer today. That God would use us to reach more kids.